foremost, thank you all for coming out. We've had a little bit of rain, but we've got an incredible day to honor our men and women who have served our country, our men and women who have sacrificed and made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. So thank you so much for that. We appreciate you all coming out to help us with that. Before we get started with the ceremony piece, we're going to do our award ceremony for our car show, Hot Rods and Heroes, Heroes and Hot Rods. Heroes are always first. I love it. Heroes and Hot Rods cruise in, put on by the Show and Go Car Club. We have a few awards we're going to give away. If your name is called, please come down to the stage. We'll present you with that award, and then we'll move on to the next. The firefighter pick, Mark Winstead. Is Mark here? He's coming. All right.
Yeah. Stage managing. He's gonna come. All right. It's gonna be like yeah. I mean, typical trailer. He was like the stage name.
Military pick, Chris Littlepage. I see him coming around the corner. If you can't see, the award is an incredible bald eagle with the American flag in the background. This was designed actually by Matt Allen with the Show and Go Car Club. We appreciate all of their support for our Heroes and Hot Rods Cruise In. Chris Littlepage, Military Choice. The Police Choice, Jimmy Mahan. Coming? Perfect. I'm pretty sure this was the Chevelle SS. Do you need me to drive it for you? The EMS award goes to Kirk Conrad. Pretty sure that was the mint green Galaxy. Here he comes running. I see him running in the back.
Just in time.
And all the way from Henderson, Kentucky, Butch Smithhart. He has the mayor's choice. Sorry, Dad, I couldn't pick it. My dad had one in the show as well, so don't hold it against me. Let's give them all a big round of applause for coming out today and sticking out the rain. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
What's up, buddy?
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get the ceremony started. And I want to say that if you are a veteran or if you are active military, would you please stand? Let's give them a round of applause because they are the reason that we have the freedom that we have. And we have right here on the front row a 90-year-old veteran. 91. Bobby, we appreciate you and we appreciate your service to our country as we do each and every one of you that stood up. We are here today because we want to salute you. Madisonville is proud to support our veterans. We've tried to do several things throughout the years, from our Hometown Heroes banners to our Heroes Hour that we have there at City Hall every quarter. And this event, Madisonville Salutes, was born out of that conversation that we had sitting around my conference table with a bunch of veterans that were just there to share what was on their heart. And they said, you know what, we would love to have something that would showcase the military. And I said, well, let's do it. And sure enough, the team in the city of Madisonville has worked extremely hard to be where we're at today. And the men that are standing behind me, each have served in a different role, and it is an honor to even be standing on the stage with them. And I want to tell you that we are here. We have the freedoms that we have because of the men and women that have served our country. And we have men and women that are serving right now. As you can see, there are things going on all across the world. Just yesterday, Representative Wade Williams, myself, had an opportunity to be in Washington, D.C., and it's very tense up there right now with all the things that are going on across the world. So it's worth thinking about what's going on. We need to be remembering those men and women and those leaders that are in positions, no matter whether they're on the right, no matter whether they're on the left, whether they're right down the middle, it doesn't matter. They're serving our country to protect our freedoms, and that's why we need to be supporting them. So as you're praying, as you're remembering, as you're thanking, please say a special prayer for those men and women that are serving our country and leading at those higher levels that have to make those split-second decisions. At this time, I'm going to open it up for our state representative, Wade Williams, to come forward and lead us in that prayer.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It's great to be a part of a community who remembers veterans and those that obviously have gave the ultimate sacrifice as we roll into the Memorial Day weekend. We obviously don't want to forget that. And it's just, I thank the mayor for having this on his heart and all the staff that put this together. You go all over the state as a state representative, seeing these different communities. You don't have this level of support everywhere. So I'm proud to be here, and if you would just bow with me, and we'll go to the Lord in prayer. Lord, we thank you today for your mercies and your grace. God, we thank you for the mission of service that you place in young men and women. And God, that commitment that they do for our nation, for each other. And Lord, I pray a special blessing that you would watch over, you protect them, Lord, as we're in these perilous times that we're in. Is nothing new, but we know that they're there in harm's way. And Lord, I pray that I pray a prayer of protection, and I pray a prayer of execution, God, that they would do exactly what they're trained to do when they're trained to do it. And God, I pray for their mission, and I pray for those leaders, that those general officers and those others, Lord, that they recognize the decisions they make and the lives that they put in their hands, Lord. And Lord, I pray for every person that's went before us. Let us not forget them, Lord. And I pray for every single person, active duty, veteran, that has went before, and I pray a special blessing on them. And I pray for everybody in this audience tonight, God, that you would watch over, protect them, get them home safely. Thank you for all you do. And in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm Jack Whitfield. I'm the County Judge Executive, and Mayor Cotton and city employees, if y'all are out there, stand up, because we don't have events like this without them. So as you're going around today, if you see the volunteers and the employees of the city, stop and thank them, because they're the ones who made this possible. Okay, so thank you all. So I had an interesting conversation this week that just occurred at a perfect timing. I had a gentleman come into my office who had a couple of issues going on in the county he wanted to talk to me about. When he was done with the issues and we discussed that, I noticed he had on a Marines cap. So I asked him about it, thanked him for his service, and we talked for a minute. He went to Vietnam in 1968, was drafted into the Marine Corps. His very first patrol, he was wounded. Now, it wasn't a serious wound, but the medic was checking him out, cleaning up some blood, putting some stitches in. And he said, you know, you'll get put in for a Purple Heart for this. And he said, I don't care about getting a Purple Heart. That's not what I'm here for. He said, you know, if you get 3 Purple Hearts, you get to go home. He said, where's it at? Because he wanted to come back home to his family. Well, this week and early next week, we're celebrating those who never made it home to their family. And there's way too many. And these are men and women who didn't decide to go to war. But when war came, they went willingly and served their country. So as you think about and pray for those people and those family, just ask that you would honor their memories and those who are following in their footsteps. And I want to ask for some help from the folks in the back, because I know everybody up in the parking lot can't hear, but this is very important to me. I'm getting ready to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So as far back as you can, if you can get their attention back there, tell them to stand up, listen, get ready for the pledge. All right, please take your hats off, stand at attention. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, please remain standing for the posting of the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
At this time, we're going to call up Brother Tim Morgan. Brother Tim Morgan will come up and announce our speaker. Brother Tim Morgan has retired multiple times from the 160th. I think it's 3 now. Brother Tim Morgan, I asked him one time, I said, Brother Tim, can you tell me exactly what it is that you do? And he said, nope. But if you watch it on the news, there's a good chance I was there. I'm going to ask you all at this time to please be seated, and we'll call Brother Tim Morgan up to present our speaker.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. It's absolutely an honor. I get the opportunity to introduce Captain Yoon and his beautiful wife, Greta, sitting over here to my right. They've traveled all the way from Nashville, Tennessee to be here with us. Now, I would be remiss, the mayor didn't do it, but I will correct this for him. Every Memorial Day and every Veterans Day, this community has one of the most elite warriors on the battlefield come and speak at the Hopkins County Veterans Memorial. And I would invite all of you to make sure you're there. You guys are really missing out on a great opportunity. How many folks have watched TV and they've got that fast talking guy at the end of a commercial to give the disclaimer? I'm that guy, and I'm on the front of the commercial. Captain Yoon isn't wearing a uniform today because, frankly, the permissaries to be able to do that in today's environment, particularly with terrorist threat, is frankly too high. So we're here for that. Not going to talk about policy and those things, but I want to say when we talk about Andrew Yoon, I could read his bio, and I talk about him being a mechanical engineer from West Point, getting ready to leave to go do his master's in business, all those things. But what I want you to know is what's important. When the Secretary of War picks up his phone, there's only about 4 numbers between him and Andrew Yoon's desk. He is the liaison between the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment Airborne and the elite customers that they serve. When you hear things like Venezuela and Iran and tankers and Afghanistan and Iraq and Pakistan, you can literally think of Andrew Yoon's face, so you know the men and women to pray for. He is that guy. He not only is that guy that does the liaison, he helps in the planning of the missions, and he executes the missions. For context, for most folks that aren't veterans, he really operates, even though he's just a captain, he really operates at about what we would think of at the colonel level. He flies a helicopter that's about the size of a Volkswagen Bug, but it is laden down with machine guns that fire about 4,000 rounds a minute. He operates that aircraft as a fully mission qualified pilot in command. He literally leads the fight. We are blessed and honored to have somebody of his caliber here with us today. And with that, I'd just like everybody to welcome Captain Andrew Yoon.
Wow, that's quite an introduction. I don't really feel deserving of all the things that was said, and he is someone that exaggerates a lot. But I do appreciate that. Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Yoon. I'd like to start off by commending Mr. Bob Bridges on his beautiful rendition of the national anthem. It's in raw, patriotic moments and events like these where the Star-Spangled Banner strikes a different tone, and it's even more special when talented people who you want to hear singing in the shower, they do the anthem justice and its symbol and meaning. So let's give them a big round of applause. Well, it's truly a privilege and honor to be standing here and speaking to you today. Brother Tim, thank you for, again, the exaggerated introduction, very flattering. I'll be honest with you, I was actually shocked when he asked me to speak at this event because of all the amazing veterans, heroes, and people that are really just generally cooler than me. I feel extremely underqualified to be speaking to this crowd I'm not from this community, and honestly, I've only been able to see it for the past, hour, but it is truly incredible, the community that you guys have here, the patriotism that you have, and everyone just being here, knowing each other, and just being a family. I think it's amazing. And I'm anxious I'm going to fall short of these expectations, but I'll do my best to not screw this up. So Tim asked me to speak a little bit on Memorial Day and what it means to me. And as simple as that question may sound, the more I thought about it, the deeper my mind went down a rabbit hole and the more complex my answer would get. To me, Memorial Day is one of the most, if not the most, meaningful federal holidays of the year. I personally believe that everyone has their own interpretation of Memorial Day, what it means to them, what tragedies and memories they reflect on, who they think about, and who they pray for. So when I reflected on Memorial Day and what it means to me specifically, I couldn't help but think about when I started my career in the military. So my journey started at the United States Military Academy at West Point. I'm extremely humbled to say that both my older brothers also attended the academy. And being completely honest, I didn't know what I was getting into when I, as the youngest of three, made the decision to attend. As with most new cadets showing up to basic training, I struggled to find my identity as I dove into the chaos of transitioning from being a beach bum from Southern California to the regimented life of the military. I played football all through middle school and high school, so when I got to West Point, I tried out for successfully joined the rugby team, where I ultimately found my identity within a brotherhood grounded in loyalty, accountability, resilience, grit, and an unrelenting pursuit of a warrior mindset. I personally believe that rugby is the ultimate competitive contact sport. It's extremely violent, rooted in aggression, and if you aren't in pain while you're playing, you're not playing hard enough. Most people don't really know what's going on when they're watching rugby. Trust me, I didn't know what the heck was going on either for the first 2 years, and I was literally on the field playing, and the ball would somehow end up in my hands, and I would just run sometimes the wrong way, and you're just tackling people, you don't know what you're doing. But beyond all the crazy rules, if you watch closely, you'll notice that the teams are trying to do whatever they can to break through the wall that is the other team. It's essentially two human walls bashing their heads against each other as hard as they can. It's pretty brutal. That's why I also believe that it's the ultimate team sport. On the pitch, you are one of 15 members of a unit that make up your team, and each player has a job that is just as important as the other. If you fail, the unit falls apart, and the opposing team will capitalize on your mistakes. Worse, if you quit, you let down every single one of your 14 teammates, and the opposing team wins. Our success was rooted in accountability of each other, but most importantly, accountability of yourself within the team. Quitting was simply not an option. You'd rather push yourself to true, utter physical failure, to die, rather than let your boys down. Rugby taught me lessons that set the foundation for the remainder of my military career. And when you go to war with your brothers on that pitch, you build bonds you could never have imagined building with other human beings. The Army rugby team refers to themselves as the Brothers, built on a quote by Henry V. "We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today who sheds his blood with me shall be my brother." The core foundation of our team was our brotherhood, and our motto was Brothers on Three. Our uniforms had BXV sewn into them, standing for Brothers 15, the brothers that make up the 15 members of our team. One of the most unique things about the Army rugby team was that we played for something more. We obviously played for each other, but more importantly, we played for the brothers that came before us. The Army rugby complex sits down by the Hudson River at the bottom of a hill. At the top of the hill, there's a wooden cross with the dog tags of each of the 20 fallen brothers who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Whenever the team had a bad game, wasn't performing well in practice, mentally off, or just needed a reset, we would run up the hill as a team, huddle around that wooden cross, and take a moment to reflect on why we were all there. We would look at each name on that cross, think about how those brothers used to be in our shoes, what they would say to us, what they would think in these moments, how they would do anything to be standing there arm in arm with us, and we would reflect on the fact that they were no longer with us. They died for a greater cause, for this nation. They were part of a cold reality that freedom is not free. After we'd reflect and talk as a team, we would all run down the hill, which was very steep and dangerous, by the way. It was very stupid to run that, down the hill, but we'd resume practice with a newfound tenacity, fierce passion, and a hunger to not let our former brothers down. So whenever we'd have a bad day, we ran the hill. Whenever we needed perspective, we ran the hill. Whenever we needed reminders on our purpose, we ran the hill. That is what the Army Rugby Brotherhood meant. At the beginning of my senior year at West Point, our team was introduced to a tall, strikingly handsome man with a goofy smile named Steve Dwyer. Steve was a 2009 West Point grad, former standout Army rugby player, and field artillery officer, and he would serve as an assistant coach for our team that season. Steve quickly turned into a mentor and an older brother figure for my class, the class of 2016. He coached us with fierce determination, provided constant mentorship on our future careers as Army officers, and was a shining light of goofy humor and laughs as he shared stories of his time as an Army rugby player and a combat-tested junior officer. As me and a couple of my buddies talked about our desire to become pilots once we graduated, Steve mentioned that he had always wanted to be a pilot. His dad, Steve Sr., had a long career in Army aviation, particularly with the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment during the early years of the regiment. I remember asking Steve why he didn't branch aviation out of West Point. His response was simple. He laughed and said he was too dumb and he cared more about rugby than academic grades. And you need to do academically well to branch aviation. On the day my class graduated from West Point, the rugby team went on a celebratory cruise down the Hudson River with all our family and friends. And as we walked onto that boat, Steve handed each of us a mason jar filled with a mysterious purple liquid and an elegant label that just said Dwyer Fire. Most of us don't really remember what happened that night, and we 100% blame Steve and that Dwyer Fire cocktail that he had. That summer, Steve resigned his commission as an officer to join the aviation branch as a warrant officer. He was finally getting to pursue his dream of becoming a pilot like his father and show everyone that he really wasn't dumb after all. I was delighted because I got the chance to go through flight school with Steve. I got to spend time with him and his amazing wife, Allie, as they built their family together. After flight school, I went to Fort Carson, Colorado as an Apache pilot, and Steve and his family came to Fort Campbell, where he became a reputable and beloved Black Hawk pilot in the 101st. We deployed with our respective units to Afghanistan, and though we were on different FOBs, I distinctly remember Steve going out of his way to fly to my base, say hi, and catch up. A couple years later, I was lucky and grateful to make my way to Fort Campbell to join the 160th. I had a couple rugby teammates who were also at Fort Campbell. Steve and Allie would always invite us over for dinner to catch up, make new memories, and hang out with their three sons, Landon, Duke, and Brody. In 2022, Steve and I traveled to Texas together to watch the Army rugby team compete for a national championship. Dozens of rugby classes came from all over the U.S. to watch the boys play. During pregame festivities, though Steve had his own classmates to catch up with, he hovered over me and the younger guys, continuously filling his role as the big brother figure to make sure that we weren't going to get out of hand. Ironically, Steve ended up getting kicked out of the game for being too drunk, and as the Army Rugby boys won our first national championship ever, Steve was on the outskirts of the field, shirt off, shaking the gate and shrieking like a madman. It's an image and a memory I'll truly never forget. Steve eventually made his way to the 160th, and I was truly ecstatic at the prospect of seeing him at the compound gym, on trips, on deployments, and just getting more of Steve Dwyer into my life. I knew the organization was going to be a better place because of him, and it was awesome seeing him following in his dad's footsteps. As Steve was about to leave for his first deployment with the unit, I was planning on making it over to the plane to give him a hug before he left, but I got too caught up in what I was doing at work. I remember thinking, I'll definitely be seeing him in a month or so I'll catch him then. On November 10, 2023, Steve was among 5 160th service members who were killed when their MH-60 Black Hawk crashed in the Mediterranean Sea. Also on board were Chief Warrant Officer 2 Shane Barnes, Staff Sergeant Tanner Groan, Sergeant Andy Southard, and Sergeant Cade Wolf. When I received that phone call, a hole burned in my heart as I immediately thought of Allie, Landon, Duke, and Brody. The loss was a shock to our entire community, and after all the families had been notified, I called each of my rugby classmates to inform them of the incident and Steve's passing, and we each shared a moment of raw emotion and comfort for each other. Just several weeks later, dozens of Army rugby brothers flew in from all over the country to attend the memorial. We did a hero wad for Steve, nicknamed Dwyer Fire, attended the memorial, and did whatever we could to be present for the Dwyer family in every way possible. Despite all the confusion and chaos, the one constant that remained the same was the strength and support of the Army Rugby Brotherhood. My classmates and I huddled around a bonfire that night, on the night of the memorial, where we shared stories of Steve, what he meant to us, how he lived life to the absolute fullest, and we all vowed, We must do the same. Steve was the 21st dog tag added to the cross on top of that hill above the rugby complex. Having run the hill with him several times before, I never imagined seeing his name on that cross. But I find solace knowing that every single future Army Rugger will remember his name, his legacy, and the Dwyer Fire way of life. So to finally answer the question, what does Memorial Day mean to me? For me, I think about Steve. My heart shatters into a million pieces knowing that Landon, Duke, and Brody will have to live the rest of their lives without their dad. How he won't be able to coach their football games. He won't be able to wrestle with them in the evenings. He won't be able to show them how to do boy things. I think about Allie, who mourns for the loss of her soulmate, but has to find a way to stay strong for her boys and has to navigate this new world that has forever changed for the worse. I think about every Gold Star family that has suffered a similar tragedy, the empty seat at their table, the pain that will never go away, and the gap left in their hearts forever. I think about the Army Ruggers, the ones who came before us, the ones who have been there for me through every hardship in life, and the 21 fallen brothers whose names are on that cross. Memorial Day is dedicated to remembering those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. It is imperative that we celebrate those lives, to remember who they were, what they believed in, and what they fought for. It's important to remember why they made that sacrifice and how they would want us to live the life they died protecting. Steve truly lived his life like there was no tomorrow, and I know that he would be disappointed if any of us rugby boys did not live our lives with that Dwyer Fire mentality. We all live busy lives in our own way. It's easy to get carried away with the chaos of work, projects, raising kids, traveling, and letting life slip away in the blink of an eye before it's gone. So before you go off to enjoy your barbecues, your pool parties, kicking off to start the summer, use Memorial Day as a reminder to run the hill. Take a pause, reflect, and remember our heroes that gave everything. To appreciate the life that we live, to live with purpose, and to fully embrace the opportunities and freedoms we were given to ensure that our heroes did not die in vain. Thank you so much for giving me the time this evening. Please keep our Gold Star families in your thoughts and prayers. God bless and have a great night.
Wow, what an unbelievable opportunity to have Captain Yoon here with us in Madisonville, Kentucky, to share the story of what Memorial Day means to him. As you look on the hill, he says, run the hill. If you look on the hill, the Vietnam Memorial Wall is standing strong in the corner. On the bottom of the hill is the World War II monument. On this side of the monument is the Korean Memorial. And in the middle is the first responders monument. It is the men and women that have had those moments of sacrifice, that have left their families to serve this country for our freedom, that allow us to be here in this park in Madisonville, Kentucky at this moment. It is the men that are on this stage that have fought for our country and for our freedoms that we are extremely grateful for. So if you would please rise one more time and remove your caps as we have the laying of the wreath and the playing of the taps in memory of all of those that have sacrificed and gone on before us. You may be seated. Gentlemen on the stage, thank you for your service. Thank you for your time tonight. And thank you for being here at Madison No Salutes. You may exit. Again, this event would not be possible without the men and women that serve as our city team. They're scattered all throughout the park. You may have had an opportunity to have a shuttle with them. You may have had the opportunity to share with them at our free t-shirt tent, or you may have just seen them walking around. When you see them, please thank them for the service that they provided for us to be here today. We also couldn't have done this without the help and support of many sponsors, and those sponsors have signs that are scattered along the walkway. Again, we could not do it without the community support to allow us to be here. With that being said, I'm going to get off the stage and we're going to get ready for Sarah